This has been a very tough decision to make.
Down November 14th. Where? In Miami.
And the Georgia Athletic Commission, he came out and he made a serious statement. And he let the world know that they falsely advertised this fight.
We'll see. It's a fun entertainment.
The highly anticipated Jake Paul vs. Gervonta Tank Davis showdown has been cancelled at State Farm Arena in Atlanta in a shocking twist that's left fans stunned. Following that bombshell, the showdown has now been relocated to Miami, with the Casilla Center now set to host the fight in what promises to be one of the year's most talked about events. Soon after, Jake Paul confirmed that the fight will indeed be heading to South Beach, Miami, making it clear that despite the controversy, he remains determined to push forward with the showdown against Gervonta Davis.
The answer to the question everybody wants to know, Jake, what's your decision?
This has been a very tough decision to make.
Man, it's very tough.
On November 14th, Netflix.
In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to...
I will be taking my talents to South Beach to fight Gervonta Tank Davis.
In fact, Jake Paul took to X to issue an apology to fans in Atlanta, expressing regret over the cancellation there, while at the same time assuring Miami that he and his team are coming in full blast to deliver a spectacle at South Beach. Jake wrote, "Sorry Atlanta, Miami, here we go." Then in a follow-up tweet, Jake posted, "Tanky Davis is in trouble." Meanwhile, George J. Smooth from Mill City Boxing also confirmed the development, citing Gervonta Davis's own reel as the source. He emphasized that even if the bout is billed as an exhibition, it is still expected to generate more business than a traditional pro fight. J. Smooth added that the payday will leave Davis financially secure, comfortable enough to provide for his family for years to come.
Instagram story. He reposted someone else's, somebody from Saudi Arabia, I believe. But yeah, it's going down November 14th. Where? In Miami. Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis. What y'all think about the fight, man? I know it's an exhibition, but in the same time, it's like we talking about big money here for Gervonta Tank Davis. If you're a fan of Gervonta Tank Davis, you're going to be happy that he's able to, provide for his family 100% just off of this one fight alone. He can mess up the bag 3 times. But with this type of bag, you know what I mean? At the age that he's at, approaching 30 years old.
Moreover, he went on to add that securing this kind of money at just 30 years old is an extraordinary financial milestone, underscoring how monumental this opportunity is for Davis both inside and outside the ring.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Miami, Florida, baby. That's where we at, November 14th. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. I'm out of here.
To build hype, Jake also revealed plans for a 2-day press tour in September, with the first stop set for September 22nd in New York City, followed by a second press conference on September 23rd in Miami, building momentum ahead of the highly controversial showdown. Jack captioned the reveal, NYC Monday, Miami Tuesday. Additionally, Jake Paul used the moment to double down on his business-first approach, reminding fans that this is a major spectacle, not a giveaway. Paul not only promoted ticket sales, but also reinforced the exclusivity around the event, framing it as a must-see occasion that fans will have to move quickly to be part of. By saying, "I have no tickets for you, you want to come to the fight? Click the link and get early access before they go on sale." In response, Teofimo Lopez jumped in with a playful jab of his own, publicly stating that he wants those tickets straight from Jake Paul. The former Unified Champions comment added a touch of humor to the situation, while also highlighting just how much buzz the controversial matchup is generating across the boxing world. Teo replied to Jake, stating, "I need those tickets, brother." However, Blue Blood Sports TV reported a very different angle, claiming that no boxing commission is willing to have any involvement in the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis matchup.
So, as I told you guys, no real boxing commission wants anything to do with the circus fight, which is for entertainment.
According to the report, commissions are not interested in sanctioning the bout, not even as an exhibition. The concerns stem from the massive size disparity, with Jake Paul outweighing Davis by nearly 50 pounds and standing almost a foot taller, a mismatch that regulators see as too great to approve.
They do not. No real boxing commission is interested in sanctioning a showdown or even allowing an exhibition between Jake Paul and professional boxer and superstar, 5-time world champion, 3-division world champion. Jake Paul is over 50 pounds heavier than Gervonta Tank Davis, and he's nearly a foot taller than Gervonta Tank Davis. So no sanction body wants to, and no commission wants to, should I say, I keep saying sanction body, no commission wants to sanction it. They don't want to be a part of it.
Blue Blood further explained that the real reason the Miami bout was scrapped traces back to the Georgia Athletic Commission, which issued a serious statement accusing Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis of falsely advertising the fight. The commission made it clear that it wanted no part in being held responsible for an exhibition of this magnitude, a stance that ultimately forced the cancellation.
As I told you guys, so they announced that the fight was going to take place November 14th in Atlanta at the State Farm Arena where the Atlanta Hawks play. And the Georgia Athletic Commission, he came out and he made a serious statement. And he let the world know that they falsely advertised this fight, okay? Because no commission won't sanction it to be a real boxing match, let alone they're not even interested in allowing it to be an exhibition. Okay? They don't even want it to be, they don't even want to be responsible for an exhibition of this magnitude, right?
On top of that, Ahi TV weighed in as well, saying that if he were in Gervonta Davis' shoes, he'd treat Jake Paul a showdown for such a massive payday as the ultimate retirement fight. He argued that this is the kind of money fight that could allow Davis to walk away from the sport for good, adding that Tank might even need to consider retirement just to secure the permit for a bout of this nature.
Waiting on a YouTuber fight while passing out on the Lamont Roach rematch and Shakur Stevenson mega fight. That being said, if I'm Terrence Bud Crawford, I'm structuring a game plan to land the Jake Paul fight for $100 million, for whatever money. That's the money to make for Crawford right there. That's the money fight. Retire, do what Floyd did with Conor, use that as a way to get the Jake Paul fight and justify the fight in terms of you just retired now and just doing side quests.
Adding to the controversy, the commissioner of the Georgia Athletic Commission personally stepped forward to address the situation, accusing Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis of promoting something they had no business promoting. He slammed the event as nothing more than a blood and money grab and made it clear that as commissioner, he could not endorse or allow such a spectacle under his watch.
So he comes out and he says, the commissioner, head of the Georgia Commission, he comes out, he says, quote, I believe it's in the public's interest to know because they've been promoting something they should not have been promoting. It's the dumbest thing I ever heard. It's a money grabber, and I'm not okay with that. So they telling them it's just for the money. They're telling the commission that they want to have this fight and it's just for the money. And he says, we're not interested.
Meanwhile, KSI dismissed the entire spectacle, bluntly stating that he doesn't care about the fight, and in his view, no one else does either. According to him, the bout holds no real significance for boxing.
Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis.
Oh, I don't care. I don't think anyone cares, man. No one cares. No one cares.
On the other hand, Canelo Alvarez also shared his perspective, stating that Gervonta Davis should have the skills to win, but admitted the size and weight difference would pose a massive challenge. He noted that the truth will only be revealed once both men step into the ring, though he emphasized that this fight is more about entertainment than a legitimate boxing contest.
But I don't know. It should be Gervonta, right? But the weight size and everything, we'll see. It's a fun entertainment.
Similarly, True Jordy added his take, pointing out that many believe Jake Paul only attached his name to Anthony Joshua in the headlines to be taken seriously. Now, he argued, Paul is set to fight Gervonta Davis, who is literally half Joshua's size and weight, making the matchup look even more questionable in the eyes of critics.
Then weirdly was in talks to fight Jake Paul, and now he's gone off and fought Gervonta Tank Davis. I mean, a lot of people are being very skeptical about how serious Jake Paul was about that, and a lot of people are saying he just wanted his name in the headlines with Anthony Joshua for people to take him more seriously, because he's then gone and chose to fight a guy who's literally, not, this isn't an exaggeration, half the size of Anthony Joshua.
Furthermore, True Jordy stated that this is a far smarter fight for Jake to take than the Anthony Joshua matchup. Despite Tank Davis having far more skills, he explained that the size gap advantage for Jake is at least something fans can debate, whereas with Joshua, there was no advantage for Jake Paul. Georgie added that people can point to the size advantage for Jake in this fight, but against Joshua, there was not a single advantage that could be given to him.
This is a far smarter fight for Jake Paul to take than the Anthony Joshua one. Yes, Tank has way more skill. I mean, it's just mental how much the skill gap is. But at least he's got some attributes on Tank. At least there's some things that people can give him in the... There was nothing you could give him in the AJ fight. Not a single thing. Maybe he's got a bigger head. No offense, Jake. And even still, most people who I've seen talk about this fight, who I respect, have said, Tank, you'll not get near him. He will school Jake Paul, he will finish him, and he'll make it look easy. Even when Tank is a 135-pound fighter and Jake Paul is a 200-pound fighter. The reality is Tank probably boils down to 135, and Jake Paul, in my opinion, is not a natural 200-pounder. So maybe the weight isn't quite as huge as what it looks, but it's still fucking big.
However, Jake Paul appears unfazed by the criticism and outside noise, ignoring the backlash. Paul has kept his focus locked in preparation, making it clear that his sights remain firmly set on Gervonta Davis and the spectacle awaiting in Miami.
So now you got Tank. And Tank is telling anybody that will listen that there's a size problem. Now, to walk the line and to continue on the story the way the story started, which was, it does not matter how big you are. My skills and my experience in boxing, I do not have to wonder who's in the bar tonight. Any bar I go to, I rule the bar. Well, no, it turns out that you don't. Turns out you could be the only boxer in the bar. Just need some big guy to corner you, apparently.
Building on that, Chael Sonnen weighed in as well, cautioning fans not to assume the outcome. He argued that just because Gervonta Davis is the better boxer on paper, it doesn't necessarily mean he can beat Jake Paul once they share the ring.
So now you got Tank. And Tank is telling anybody that will listen that there's a size problem. Now, to walk the line and to continue on the story the way the story started, which was, it does not matter how big you are. My skills and my experience in boxing, I do not have to wonder who's in the bar tonight. Any bar I go to, I rule the bar. Well, no, it turns out that you don't. Turns out you could be the only boxer in the bar. Just need some big guy to corner you, apparently.
In fact, Chael Sonnen went a step further with his prediction, claiming that Jake Paul is going to beat Gervonta Davis badly. He stressed that this event is not about rankings, titles, or legacy, but purely a night of business. Sonnen added that Davis made a mistake in choosing Jake as a business partner, saying Tank should not be surprised when Paul goes out and acts dumb.
Having better boxing than a guy doesn't necessarily mean you can beat that guy up. In fact, if you conform the rules and make it just boxing rules, being a better boxer than this guy doesn't even mean you can beat a guy up under those rules. And it was a wildly disappointing moment for boxing.
Adding to that, Antonio Tarver weighed in first by pointing out that this is an exhibition, which immediately stands out. He noted the massive size difference, explaining that as a boxer, he is used to seeing fighters of the same size and stature inside the ring. Tarver admitted it feels very strange to see one man so much bigger than the other in a matchup with such a wide physical gap.
Jake's gonna beat Tank badly. And I'm only sharing for you. We're not holding this event for rankings or for titles or for lineage. This is a night of business.
And I'm going to predict for you now. And we'll know. As soon as this video comes out, we'll know. I would be happy to be wrong. But as far as picking a business partner, when you choose a dum-dum, don't be surprised when he goes out and acts like a dum-dum.
Furthermore, Antonio also commented that the reason Gervonta Davis is taking a lot of heat is because he's a professional boxer, while Jake Paul is widely recognized as more of a businessman, and everyone knows it. He acknowledged Davis as a champion-level fighter, but added that the matchup is still said to be a massive event, especially with Netflix's involvement.
I don't know. They say it's an exhibition, so that's the first thing stood out.
Well, they're both going to go to win, though.
When they announce it, it's an exhibition.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a big size differential. Mm-hmm. You know, I want to know how that's going to look in the ring from aesthetic standpoint.
Yeah.
You know, we used to seeing guys same size, same stature. This might be a little weird. You know, seeing a guy much bigger than another guy, and then they're fighting and competing. So a lot of things are changing, and man, like I say, you know, you either with it or you gonna get left behind. So you know, it's just a new day and age for the sport of boxing.
In addition, Bob Arum dismissed the matchup entirely, highlighting the fact that Jake Paul is nearly twice the size of Gervonta Davis. He openly questioned the legitimacy of the fight, casting further doubt on whether it should even be happening.
Oh, isn't that stupid? I mean, Jake Paul is twice the size. I mean, how do you make a match like that?
Echoing the critics, Dana White also chimed in, blasting Jake Paul for chasing mismatched bouts. The UFC president argued that Jake Paul should be fighting opponents close to his own size rather than targeting a much smaller star like Gervonta Davis, calling the entire setup a lopsided spectacle.
He made a diss track on you, though.
You know what's funny about your brother? So your brother talks more shit than anybody else on the planet. Now him and the Warlock are running around trying to fucking sue people. They're trying to fucking sue people when people talk shit.
Well,
and the Nelk Boys brought this up to me, and you know, I'm sure there's people out there saying, you know, that they're fake fights, they're fixed, and all this other fucking bullshit. But I think what people mean when they talk about it is, you know, he's gonna fight fucking Gervonta Davis. It's like when you
who do you got?
You guys need to fight guys your fucking same size. You know what I mean? When you fought Floyd, you are massive. You're a massive fucking dude. Floyd's tiny. And I'm sure when you were training, you're like, all right.
At the end of the day, the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis saga has become much bigger than just a fight. Between last-minute venue switches, commission pushback, and a flood of polarizing takes from fighters, promoters, and pundits, the matchup has already achieved what Paul wanted most: headlines and attention. Whether it unfolds as a spectacle in Miami or crumbles under regulatory pressure, one thing is certain: this fight has already cemented itself as one of the most controversial and talked about events. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video with more exciting updates.